We are leaving South Manitou and we are headed to Glen Arbor, which is how many miles away?
I think it's like 8.
8 miles away. There's supposed to be some pretty strong wind from the south starting tonight and then all day tomorrow. So we are going to wait in Glen Arbor and then we're hoping on Tuesday. What were we saying? We're hoping on Tuesday, after the strong winds from the south come through, that we will then be able to make it to Beaver Island, which is about
55, 60 nautical miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glen Arbor is pretty protected from the south. It's kind of its only protection, but we'll see what the blow says or what it ends up doing. With the different models we're looking at are anywhere from 15 gusting up to 40, but I don't really believe the 40 because it's only one model showing that, so we'll see.
We hope it's not 40.
We just don't want to sail in it. We're not in that big of a hurry, so we're choosing not to.
That's right. Very early this morning at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, even though I was scared.
Yeah, Erica was a little nervous.
Because the wind was howling through the rigging and we were rolling so much in that anchorage, so I was very nervous to leave. But we left.
Yeah, it sounds a lot worse than it actually is, like from a wind standpoint. So it actually wasn't blowing that hard last night, it just sounded like it. So we are probably 15 to 20 miles from Beaver Island. So right now we're going by the Fox Islands, North and South Fox. We already passed North Manitou this morning. The sea state is pretty terrible, actually. It's not as bad now, but man, when we went between the islands,
it was pretty rough.
We were going like dead downwind, and we were getting this like side secondary swell that wrapped around the island and hit us right on the beam. It's probably like a 3 to 5 foot swell, so it was super uncomfortable.
Yeah, very rolly.
We ended up sailing north to get some protection from South Fox Island, which is kind of where we are now. So we went a little bit out of our way, but it's way more comfortable. You can probably still see we're still kind of sailing downwind, but so far so good. we're probably
Arrive soon.
still 4 or 5 hours from Beaver, from actually anchoring, but we're getting there.
We can go on the museum first.
All right, so we are in Beaver Island. We made it yesterday after a nice long sail from Glen Arbor.
Very wavy sail.
It was really wavy. Maybe later we'll look at the chart and kind of show where the biggest waves are and what kind of happened, because we were seeing a secondary swell to it wasn't aligned with where the wind was coming from. But then we got here, and then what happened, Erica?
Oh dear God. Well, then I don't know. It started blowing up to 48 knots was the strongest that we saw. Our anchor dragged, and it was covered in muck and weeds, and it took me several minutes to get it all off with the boat hook so that we could even try to reset it.
Yeah, we had a pretty close lee shore, and it was like clay with some
Grass.
grass.
I don't know.
So I think we went to reset, and it was already fouled. Because we got good ground tackle. It's not the equipment itself. I think it's just it got mucked up, and then it wasn't able to reset, and we started floating. So good news is we were able to get it cleaned off, get it reset. We were shallower when we reset, so we had even better scope.
And then it did hold the rest of the night.
Held the rest of the night really well, and
but
then
that wind didn't die down for another like hour and a half, honestly.
Yeah, so it was a long day yesterday. We slept terrible yesterday morning. Woke up, sailed all day, and then we didn't even get to relax once we got here.
Sure did not.
But we are here now, and behind me is I don't
Point.
even know what it's called.
Gull Point is where we are.
And we're in St. James Harbor.
Yes.
Also known as Paradise Bay, I think.
Yes, we think.
And it's a really nice day. So we're going to take a walk. We're going to go to a little nature preserve, and you probably can't even hear any of this because of the wind.
What's happening, girls?
So I'm rebuilding the carburetor again for the second time in 3 days. So we didn't have the rebuild kit last time I took it apart.
Which was 2 days before we were supposed to leave the dock.
Yeah. So we didn't have the correct parts to do this, but if you want to come over here, I just took apart this little primer assembly. And the old one, you can see all the crap that came out of there.
Gross.
You can see it's pretty much just crumbling and falling apart, and all that garbage, all this gasket material was just kind of clogging up all the capillary systems in there. So I think that's what our issue was. Now this pump works really well. Probably want to flush that out a little bit better, but I think we're good. So it's good to know we found an issue.
Hopefully the only issue.
Hopefully the only issue. Beaver Island is a very unique history, briefly holding America's only monarchy, with James Jesse Strang claiming leadership of the Latter-day Saints movement, also known as the Mormons. In 1848, Strang moved his followers to Beaver Island and claimed himself king of heaven and earth in 1850. In 1856, he was shot 3 times by disgruntled followers and died 23 days later. After his death, Strang's flock was scattered, and land speculators started buying and selling up land on Beaver Island, mostly to fishermen of Irish descent. Beaver Island then became a prosperous fishing and logging community until the lamprey eel and overfishing hit the local economy after World War II. The population declined to as low as 150 before being rediscovered in the mid-1960s by the tourism industry.
There is a small marine museum on the island that is run by the Historical Society and free to visit. An authentic net shed built in 1906 houses the museum's collection of memorabilia from the days when St. James Harbor was booming with commercial activity. Downstairs, the museum has displays of the many shipwrecks of the Great Lakes, including the largest on Lake Michigan, the Carl D. Bradley. Next to the museum, you can visit the Bob S., a wooden gill net boat the Society has restored.
Eric, you want to tell us what we're doing?
We are creaming some spinach and tomatoes into a sauce, and we're making some wild rice to go on the side of our whitefish.
So we picked up this beautiful whitefish at the market here in Beaver Island. So we're going to grill it up on the cob.
Which one do you want?
Jack, you see the barge?
All right, today we are going to Garden Island from Beaver Island, so it's just like a really quick 6.5 miles out. We'll anchor there for a couple hours, do some hiking.
Explore.
It's like an uninhabited island that we'll go to, and then
we're-
we'll come back here to anchor for tonight. It's not a great anchorage for the wind that's forecasted.